I'm Kathy with a K with 1059 The Wave, Hawaii's relaxing favorites. And coming up this Saturday and Sunday, August 17th and 18th at the Hawaii Theater in beautiful
Yes.
downtown Honolulu, the historic Hawaii Theater, Pet Sounds Live. And one of the players too, and also part of petsoundslive.com, Pet Sounds Live, Jeff Celentano. Aloha.
Aloha. This is going to be great. We're really looking forward to performing for you guys out in the beautiful islands.
I'm excited because I have in my mind, I wanted to create a 100th vinyl library, and Pet Sounds would be part of it, but I haven't been able to find it in the wild. That's a good flex.
It's available. You got to find them. You could probably find some on eBay. It depends. Like there's a bunch of different versions and different pressings, but if you want an original one,
Yeah,
it might set you back a few bucks.
it would be worthwhile. But another way to experience it and get an understanding, I've always wanted to know how it began. And so this is why I'm looking forward to the show Saturday and Sunday at Hawaii Theater. Jeff, you are part of it. How did Pet Sounds Live begin? You got the critics and the fans. Everybody has an opinion of what Pet Sounds is. So please, from where you experienced it, how did it come to be?
Absolutely. So this has been a labor of love, about 3 years in the making at this point. A lot of time, a lot of financial resources to kind of birth this project. I used to play with a couple of the original Beach Boys, founding Beach Boy members in various satellite groups, and was doing that in around the early 2000s. Al Jardine, the guy that sang "Help Me, Rhonda," I was in his band for a while. In fact, I literally just got back from a gig with one of the old drummers in the Beach Boys band a couple days ago. I was in Vancouver, Washington, just yeah, the day before yesterday on Saturday. So I've been kind of in this Beach Boy world for about 20 years, 20 plus years. I started at like a Beach Boys tribute group, actually when I was in high school, called Good Vibrations, and it's still going. So we have this Beach
Wow.
Boys tribute group that kind of focuses on more of the greatest hits and kind of goes through chronologically, and we cover some of the Pet Sounds material. But there's a lot of Beach Boy tribute bands out there. Plus, you still have Mike Love out there going out with his version of the official name of the Beach Boys. Ironically, a few of the guys in his band have gone through my band, so we're kind of like the farm club for their
Mm.
for the official Beach Boys. But anyway, I've been doing that for years, a couple of decades now at this point, and we thought, well, there's a lot of competition out in the marketplace. Nobody other than Brian Wilson was doing Pet Sounds, and now at this point he stopped touring. He's 82 now at this point.
Mhm.
So, and a lot of his band members are friends of ours, and so we just kind of cooked up this idea. Well, I mean, there's a void there, right? People still want to hear this music and nobody's doing it, and we kind of sort of have the pedigree at this point. So, let's take on this challenge. And now 3 years later, here we are.
Pet Sounds Live, 2 nights, August 17th, August 18th at the Hawaii Theater. Tickets on sale at hawaiitheater.com. Talking with Jeff Celentano. As you just heard, more than experienced and in love with the music of the Beach Boys. How did you discover the Beach Boys?
So it's funny. I guess you could say I'm kind of like, well, you and I both are probably more second generation fans, right? Like we're not baby boomers. We're not, you know what I mean? So I developed the interest in the music when I was a kid, right? So, I mean, the first album I had was, like most people, I had my copy of Endless Summer, first album that I had. First Beach Boys album I got, and from about 8 years old on, it just became an obsession.
Mm,
Um, Mostly because of the harmony. I'm a big harmony guy, so obviously it doesn't get any more, harmonic than the Beach Boys
mm.
when it comes to vocal harmony. So from there, I just obsessed over the music for years and years, all through high school, all through, my young 20 years. And next thing I know, started bands that had very similar sounds, lots of harmonies, and then was kind of met with some of the other guys from the old Beach Boys touring band. Next thing I know, I'm playing with Al and starting my own tribute. And so it's just kind of become this natural progression. Where does the time go? Right.
Jeff, when you were discovering all the nuances of all the tracks from the Beach Boys, it just was such a departure from the previous 10 albums, Pet
Mhm.
Sounds. What was it like when getting to arrive to Pet Sounds Live? Was there, line up all the like the library and just be like, let's see chronologically. how this pans out.
Well, it's interesting, much like the Beatles, there was a big kind of creative evolution from in the Beach Boys music. I mean, they went from, Surfing USA and Fun, 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 and I Get Around until, and then they eventually kind of came to full flower with the Pet Sounds. And then beyond that, you had Good Vibrations and the Smile album. I don't know if I'm getting too deep in the weeds there, but and then what's cool is that over the years, especially if you talk to younger people, in fact, I just on this gig I was just at, this young, couldn't have been, more than 20 something years old, comes to the autograph table with like some really rare albums like Sunflower and Holland and Carl and the Passions and stuff that wasn't available in the 70s or in the 80s, rather, these 70s albums that weren't available. When I was a kid, a lot of those albums were out of print,
Mm.
anything that they did in the 70s. So if I wanted to hear them, I had to like really save up allowance money and find original copies and kind of in the wild somewhere. Nowadays, everything's available, in our pockets on streaming. So I think it's a lot easier for people to discover the later music. But yeah, just when it comes to this production, we were very conscious of not wanting it to be just another tribute band, right? We didn't want to just regurgitate the music. So there's a very significant multimedia component to the show where it's almost like a live documentary where you're kind of like in the studio as the record's being produced. So that way it's way more of a theatrical production than just a group of guys playing the music. We're still up there playing the music, but we'll start with a couple of the early hits and kind of, to your point, evolve into Pet Sounds and kind of run through it chronologically. And then, the whole album only clocks in at like 37 minutes. So, afterwards we got to, we fill out the rest of the set with some more greatest hits. But we were very conscious of not wanting this to be just another tribute show. We want it to be more of a theatrical experience with lots of cool multimedia and video. And we want people to come out of the theater going, wow, I didn't know that. There's some stuff that I learned from watching this video. So there's little factoids on the screen. And when people walk out, hopefully they'll be entertained and a little, smarter.
Talking with Jeff Celentano of Pet Sounds Live, coming to Hawaii Theater, Honolulu, August 17th and 18th. Tickets available, hawaiitheater.com. For the Beach Boys, all of the players and the singers, is it purposefully this person playing drums because they have the same style, or is it an interchangeable sort of outfit for the band?
That's a really good question. So, in my other tribute band that's called Good Vibrations, it's more of a like a traditional kind of a tribute. Although there's a lot of multimedia too, we like to turn that into more of a production as well. But casting for that show is more like, okay, I want to make sure that the guy on bass is singing the Brian parts and the guy on drums is maybe singing the Dennis parts. You know what I mean? We work around a little bit, but that's kind of the formula. With this show, because the music is so complex and because there's so many different types of kind of unconventional instrumentation, we didn't want to necessarily pigeonhole, like, I mean, I'm on keyboards and singing a lot of the higher stuff or mid-range stuff. So we didn't want to be kind of too rigid with the personnel and assigning different parts. Interestingly, we all want to make sure that when we're appearing on stage that the clothing, the costuming looks very period. So, you won't see us in like the striped shirts and all that, but you'll definitely see the look is going to be more like how they would have dressed in the studio, like maybe some preppy looking V-necks or some tight khaki pants, or things like that, or some cool looking bands. But yeah, that's the idea. We didn't want to go with like an impersonation, but we definitely wanted to embody the look and the feel and the spirit of the time in 1966. That's a long time ago. So, I mean, you got to definitely try to capture a moment in time.
Jeff, for Pet Sounds Live, you said it was like kind of like a 3 years in the making, or kind of continuing on into third, fourth year, being in 2024. How much has it changed? Is there anything, because I'm sure the people come out of the woodwork who are experts about Beach Boys and about Pet Sounds in particular. And yeah, is there anything that has been removed or added or maybe highlighted more because you've discovered, along with the personnel with the staging, that oh, this is something that is very little known. This is an Easter egg, all these Easter eggs. Oh, and are each of the shows like, do they change up a little bit so there's different Easter eggs for each performance?
I mean, because the show is so kind of locked to the multimedia, it can't really change too much. Although we prepared more songs obviously the Pet Sounds album has to run from front to back, but the songs that open the show and the songs that end the show, we've got a little bit to draw from. So that could possibly change. We've got a few extras. But when it comes to like, nerding out as far as Beach Boy experts, it
Yeah.
gets none more nerdy than me and my team. So most of us already kind of knew all of the nuances and all of the minutia of the history and all of that. As super fans growing up, we knew all of every little detail. We've got every box set, every book. I mean, every documentary that is about the Beach Boys. So we tried to pack as much of those little tidbits of information as possible in the show. So again, when people see it, they feel like, oh, I was entertained and I learned something.
Very
So
cool.
we are the geeks that we are looking for.
Oh. Oh, Jeff is with Pet Sounds Live coming to the Hawaii Theater Saturday and Sunday, August 17th, August 18th, 2024. Tickets on sale at the Hawaii Theater box office, also online at hawaiitheater.com. I'm Kathy with a K with 1059 The Wave, Hawaii's relaxing favorites. From the front end of the Beach Boys, even through like later releases, man, they could write a hook. I mean, every song, even songs that were not released as singles,
Mm-hmm.
hooky.
Yeah.
And like you were talking about the harmonizing. Can you tell me a bit about the Beach Boys album that really turned the switch on for you? And if there is an arrangement that maybe from the original recordings or maybe even like later that you found like some B-side, you're like, oh my goodness, this is that just kind of reaffirms your secretary of the Beach Boys Forever fan club, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, I mean, obviously, Pet Sounds was kind of a, like a whoa, what is this kind of moment? Because I was so used to, as a child, I was used to the fun surfing, and all that is great. My favorite, I have a whole period of
Yeah.
favorite, when it comes to the Beach Boys. My favorite eras, kind of like right before Pet Sounds, like 65 through like right before Endless Summer came out in 74. So there's like this progression of records from starting with like an album called The Beach Boys Today, past Pet Sounds. My favorite Beach Boys album is an album called Sunflower from 1970, which is a very rare. It was not a huge hit, but it's there. It's funny. Pet Sounds is kind of considered to be Brian, like almost like a Brian Wilson solo album. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, it's the best. It's the best Brian album that the Beach Boys ever did. But then Sunflower is like the best group album that they ever did.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's when they all kind of produced it because Brian was kind of taking a backseat then. And then they went on and did some great albums called Holland in 73,
Mhm.
Carl and the Passions in 72. It's a weird period, but see now you and everyone else can hop on streaming and find those records that were out of print for a really long time and rediscover this music, which is what's happening now.
Pet Sounds Live again, Saturday and Sunday, Hawaii Theater. Go to hawaiitheater.com for tickets. Talking with Jeff Celentano of Pet Sounds Live, and he's also involved with many of Beach Boys events. And wait, are you doing Good Vibrations still? Just
Very, very actively. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, so we're Pet Sounds Live is kind of, we're getting this rolling. We've got, what's interesting is that when we kind of announced the that we were doing this, we started getting some interest like sight unseen, right? Because everyone's like, oh, there was some buzz circling around this project. So it's exciting. We're definitely, curious to see where this goes. I never thought I'd say that I'll be getting to play Pet Sounds in Hawaii. I mean, that's like a dream come true, right?
Well, we'll see you this Saturday, Sunday, Hawaii Theater again, hawaiitheater.com, August 17th, August 18th at the Hawaii Theater. Jeff, thank you so much for your time for
My pleasure.
1059 thewavefm.com. You can get more details. I'm Kathy with a K.
Thank you so much. It's been a truly a pleasure. We can't wait to see you.